Right. So I was going to start this thing that you said, Dan, but I can't remember it. What was it again?
No. Oh, it was about if you lose to Watford, you basically lose your job no matter what team.
There you go. There you go. So
no, not Watford. Norwich. Sorry, Norwich. If you lose to Norwich.
Yeah. Yeah. If you lose to Norwich, you go, which is what happens to Claudio Ranieri. So actually, I probably shouldn't start with that because I want to start with a list, as we said. If that's all right with you. Is that right, boys?
Yeah, I had a great Watford Ranieri stat though, so I'll save it.
Oh, save that. Right. So, I wanted to just do. It has been a long time, and sorry to the fan out there who has been missing our episodes. We've had no more views on anything that we've done, so it's important that we do this pod. So
my mum really missed it. So
yeah, I know. She told me she missed it. She texted me. She DM'd me. You know. Yeah. So I've just written a list, and I asked you guys to do the same things we've learned since our last pod. So I'll go ahead with that.
Yeah.
Just stop me, or just say what you want if you feel free to. The first thing I've thought was that Chelsea aren't as good as I thought they were, and Wolves are much better than I thought they were.
I mean, Wolves are much better than Mark gave him credit for at the start of the season. He put them in the top three.
Well, I did. I think. Well, I put him in the bottom three because one, I weren't sure how Raul Jimenez would come back because he's actually come back and he's quite decent. And yeah, Wolves are just very solid at the back. Like they've probably got one of the best defenses in the league, and it's just I didn't see that coming. So I thought, well, struggling to score, and I didn't realize how good defensively they were. I thought that was recipe for disaster, but they've definitely been proved wrong there.
Well, under Nuno, they were pretty good defensively, isn't it? I think the thing. Go on, Dan.
No, I was going to say about Nuno. I think part of one of my things was I think Nuno's been found out a little bit because actually I think they've got in a brand new keeper. So they were all talking about how fantastic their keeper was last time. They brought Sai, and then he's just been just as good. Conor Cody's like the greatest defender of all time somehow in the Wolves team. I just don't know how. And Roman Saiss is like some godlike defender who isn't even a defender. I don't even understand.
I know. As soon as the thing that gets me with Saiss is as soon as you put him in your team, he's out. He's not playing.
I don't understand.
Is it just they don't pass the eye test? Because like Conor Cody obviously got the England call up. So you initially think, all right, I'll keep a slightly closer eye on him. But maybe they just don't pass the eye test. But then when you actually look over many games, you're like, well, they got a lot of clean sheets.
They've had like 6 out of 7 clean sheets in their last games or something. Like it's insane.
Yeah, the last match I saw.
A team put their body on the line like that. Like when Wolves are fairly boring to watch. They've got a bit more exciting recently, but they're genuinely boring to most of the time. But if you actually watch their games, which since they're 0-0, they throw their body on the line for literally everything. Like their defenders are flying all over the place, and their middle two, Moutinho and Neves, are just quality.
Yeah,
they really missed a beat with Bruno Lage, have they?
What do you mean, Mr.
Well, I mean, they were a good side under Nuno, and you say he's found out for whatever reason. Put aside whether you think he's a good manager or not. They were pretty good sides under Nuno's, and no one ever wants to change manager, and you always think things are going to change. But I don't know if they've demonstratively changed. I don't even know if maybe it's just because they're doing work, man. I don't even know if they're better. Sometimes I allow myself to think they're slightly better, but they're certainly the Wolves that was being the same Wolves the last 2 seasons. They're just solid. I mean, Traore is massively overrated consistently, fine, but they just know exactly what they're trying to do out there.
Yeah, they've got a good system. They all talk the same language, which helps. Not English.
Yeah.
And they just keep going. Yeah, it's just relentless.
Right, I got another point. I realize what I learned is that during this period is that I want Palace to do well. It's just that simple as that. I mean, I don't know. I've never really thought much of Palace outside they're really quick and they're pretty shit, and I had not much interest in them. But this one, and maybe it's because of Patrick Vieira, or just I've watched a lot of them lately. I try and make a point of it. I just like how they play. It just seems like they all are playing for each other, playing for the manager. They want to play football. There's none of this boring shit, and I don't know, just enjoying it. I mean, if you get,
is it because they're no longer the Wilfred Zaha team?
Why I like them, or
Yeah,
or
because they used to be like, if you ever watched Palace, it was like if Zaha wasn't playing, they were terrible. If he was playing, it would come down to whether he played well or not. So
well, even with him, they just seem to be a bit more cohesive as a team. That's all, really, to me at least.
Have you watched when Eagles Fly or when Eagles Dare? Whatever, there's a Netflix or Amazon Prime, I think it might be, documentary.
No,
on
too hooked on Cobra Kai at the
I
moment.
was going to say Eagles just makes
Yeah.
you think Cobra Kai.
But it is good. It's
So
actually
what Eagle
good.
fan?
It is pretty good. Like the current chairman and the owner of Crystal Palace, like it's all about how the four of them, basically they were just fans, and like Crystal Palace was about to go into administration, they just turned up and like, yeah, why not? Let's do it. Let's see what we can do. And how they've turned it around and how they keep turning it around. It was the whole time of Dougie Freedman. It's really interesting, and that kind of made me quite interested in Crystal Palace ever since I watched that last year. But I was certain they were going to struggle this year. I just thought new manager, lost most of their experience in their squad, really young team, bunch of loanies. I was like, could go either way. They've done really well. Well done to them.
See, I wouldn't say they're as young as you'd think, really, because they do have some experienced players. They got some established Premier League players. I think the biggest unknown was what would Patrick Vieira do, and
Yeah,
you know, I don't know if maybe in my head I would have lumped them together with Henri and think, oh, they might be similar. Whereas Patrick Vieira clearly is a good manager to some degree. You know, however successful will be, who knows? But he certainly has something to him. And
He has a way of playing, which seems to be what you need to be a good manager these days. Whether you're actually good or not doesn't matter. As long as you have a method and a way, everyone's happy.
well, that's I think that's sports altogether. You have to have an identity. You have to know what you intend to do when you go out there. And they have an intention, and you win or lose with that. I mean,
that never used to be the case. Like Gary Neville talked about that when he was like Man United for all those years. It wasn't like, okay, we're going to play possession football, we're going to play this. It was just, we're going to win.
Well, I think that's why Man United and Alex Ferguson were who they were, because their skill was, and it's kind of similar to like the New England Patriots with Bill Belichick. It's like we don't have a way of playing. We play the team that we're playing against, and we can adapt. We've got smart players, and we can shift. The thing is, you couldn't ask, say, Crystal Palace or most other teams to play a different way, because most players don't really have the intelligence to play outside of what they know, is it? And, you know, going back to the Man United. So that's what I would say to that, really. But I don't know. No one's going to be the Man United. You can't really hold them to that standard, innit?
Maybe.
I've got another point,
Yeah.
unless you guys want to jump in.
Go on.
Man City aren't enjoyable to watch. Well, I didn't learn that. I just think it's good to emphasize that
I was
constantly.
going to say, I'm not sure. I think we all knew that already.
Yeah, it's
That's why
just
they
tough.
can't sell out any
It's tough.
stadium.
I tried to, you know, I spent this time trying to watch a lot of football, and I just can't do it. I just can't sit down and watch them for a full game. I just can't do it. I'll watch almost anything. I'll watch almost anything except for Man City. It's just not even enjoyable. I don't know why. What is it?
they're like a wrestler in cage fighting who doesn't go for a finish. Do you know, they win the 5 rounds to 0, and the other guy's like perfectly okay, but has just been
Crowds
down.
booing while
Yeah.
the other guy's getting mauled, and you're like, he's winning the fight. I just don't like what I'm watching.
Yeah, it's just
Exactly what City
That's
are
funny.
like.
That's well played.
I wrote down on one of my things of what I've learned. Guardiola has completed his project of turning the Premier League into the Spanish and German league.
See, I think people have been desperate for that, but Liverpool are not far behind City.
They're like 14 points behind us. Would be stupid, aren't they?
No, but it's one of those because on my list of what I realized,
They're 9 points behind. That's
with a game
that's a
in
big
hand,
that's a big jump.
with a game in hand, and Salah's back for the next game. So,
Oh, you're joking? Oh my goodness.
Mane's back. Salah will be back, but if Egypt make it all the way,
He won't play.
it'll be touch and go. But yeah, because one thing I dislike is games in hand. I used to not be too bothered by it, but this year it's just really bugged me. Like looking
it
at
really
the
has.
table.
You've actually been talking a lot about how pissed off you are, the fact that these games are like too many games at hand.
So you've got like Chelsea have played 24, and then you've got Burnley who have played 18. Like that's too big.
To be honest, I'd be more than happy if Burnley played 0. Like I could care less.
That's true.
But yeah, and the thing is because some of the big games have been postponed. So I'm trying to look at the top 4, and I'm like, well, Arsenal could catch us, Tottenham could catch us, but then their game in hand is against each other. So then you've got to work out what result you want from that game in hand. And yeah, it has bugged me a lot. And at one point, City had 2 games in hand on Liverpool, so it made the City look like they were running away with it a lot more than they were. And I think because Liverpool were missing Mane and Salah, no one expected them to win their game in hands. So.
Can I just jump in one there? One thing I learned is that Arsenal have lost their mojo. I think they had their spell in the season where, you know, a few weeks back where, all right, we might make top 4. I'm not as convinced anymore.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice Arsenal's emotions have plateaued a bit, because normally they win a few, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and then when they lose a few, there's a lot of hate. But I actually feel like
I'm not hating. I'm just saying. I'm just thinking. It is what it is.
They went on a good run. They're not really being helped by Aubameyang. The situation of it seems like he wants out, and it seems like Arsenal want him out. I must admit that he got sent home from the African nations with a heart problem, and then Arsenal said there was no issues, and then an interview later was like that he could use this time to put himself in the shop window. So I was like, oh, I wonder if that health check was influenced by they want to get him out the door. So,
exactly, definitely.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Well, the thing I learned about Arsenal is the thing that I always thought: Bernd Leno is terrible. He's the worst keeper in the league. Calling it for years. It's now official. He won't even get another game.
Worst in the league. All right, go on, carry on. Let me just have a look here now. I
learned David De Gea's still got it.
I was on my list. De Gea's good again.
Yeah, and for me, I love it because like he was 3-time player of the year for us, and then probably had 2.5 seasons where he was a bit ropey. He cost us, I think it was the FA Cup. He was a bit ropey. So I'm just pleased because this time last year it was all about get Henderson in the team, get De Gea out, and I'm pleased to see him doing well because
it's a shame for Henderson though, because I think Henderson could easily nail down an England spot. Yeah, and we kind of need to sort that out before the World Cup comes around.
There was just some red flags that weren't there. There was I can't remember the goal where the guy ran from the halfway line and he was like a school kid. He weren't in the middle of the goal. He was out off to one side. He didn't come out. It was like I can't remember who scored it, but I just remember thinking that's a red flag. That he looked like a deer in the headlights.
Dan, can I offer you Meslier and any Norwich goalkeeper worse than Bernd Leno?
Absolutely. I'll take Meslier in a heartbeat over Bernd Leno. Are you kidding?
I do like Mark?
I like
Meslier.
Goalkeeper.
Yeah. You think he's good?
Yeah, he gets a hard rap because he has to make 28 saves a game, but like because he's got no defense in front of him. But he's a good keeper.
I don't think Newcastle have the best keepers. I'm trying to.
Dubravka, I would take.
Dubravka's good. I like Dubravka. Yeah, well, I was just looking through the teams, and the Premier League usually has, I think, really good goalkeepers. As far as I can remember, maybe like 15, 20 years, I always felt the Premier League's pretty strong goalkeeper-wise.
Yeah.
Maybe just because it's the one position. It's like saying all left-backs are good, isn't it? It's like such a weird niche position.
All English right-backs are good.
Yeah. So, maybe Leno is... he might be the worst. I mean, he's not a starter now, is he? So, come on, he's a backup goalkeeper.
Finally. See, this is what I've been saying for years. Get rid of it. You might stand a chance. Literally.
But that was more because Ramsdale was so much better than we realised. So you talk about England needing a number one keeper.
He has to be in the conversation.
True. Yeah. True. I'll give you that. That's probably something.
I got a good one.
Yeah.
The African Cup of Nations is unwatchable.
Yeah, I'm hoping it lights up now.
It depends. Did you watch the game with no goalkeeper? That was brilliant.
Did you see him try to make a save with no arm?
Yeah.
He forgot he was a goalkeeper instead of a fullback. And he
What-
went to
what
say
team-
with his hands behind his back.
Wait, you remember I sent you that? I sent you a clip before the African Nations where they made that announcement. It was a news article, and they were like, because even if you've got no keepers in your squad because of COVID, you still have to play. And I was saying, oh, and then Edward Mendy got injured, and I was like, oh, this is going to end badly. And of course, it happened, and they played some left back. He was their only potential goalkeeper.
What team was this? Was this the team playing Senegal?
Yes, it was the 2-0 Senegal. He made a few decent saves. To be
He
fair.
did. He did as well. He did as well. The funny thing is, like, I've just got this other WhatsApp group, and it's like people want. Some guy was writing. A lot of people think that the African Cup of Nations isn't treated with a lot of respect, but it's a fucking shit show of a tournament.
Yeah,
It's like,
they've
not
had-
blaming the teams and not blaming the players necessarily, but the fucking thing's a joke.
but the stuff that's gone on in that game.
8 people died. That's what someone
Yeah,
said.
there was the crush of the fans. There's the which. Do you know what? I put that down to restricted seating in stadiums because like the same thing happened here in the Euros. People cop on that they've not sold out a stadium, big tournament being hosted. What do they expect? And these governing bodies try and do it on the cheap. They're getting these low paid like staff who don't care. They're not going to risk like. Well, I wouldn't want them to risk their lives, but then they don't care. So. They had the Egypt-Nigeria game where the ball was flat for the first 30 minutes. They had the referee said he had
The referee thing was
the
a
ref
thing.
who said he had sunstroke.
Mark told me that one. Was that the guy that blew the whistle or the 18th?
No, there was the rest that blew the whistle 5 minutes early.
Yeah.
And then he did it 1 minute early, 89 minutes, right, Mark?
Yeah, he done it twice in the same game.
Yeah, but
So,
there was 5 minutes stoppage time.
yeah. Then there was one of the games. The BBC coverage has been shocking. So they put the coverage on 10 minutes before kickoff, but one of the games they put on 5 minutes into the match, and it was already 1-0. It was
so bad.
yeah,
so
there
bad.
was obviously Mane's incident. That's why I asked if it was that game because Mane got the keeper got sent off, but he knocked Mane out, and he was out cold. And then they sort of got him up, said to him, "You're fine," and let him carry on playing. And the guy clearly didn't know where he was for the first 10 minutes. And like,
That is terrible. I mean,
Yeah.
it is really bad. It's not painted them in good light, has it?
no,
Has it always
what-
been like this, or is it just this year it's particularly shit?
I don't know.
Because I never watch it. That's why it's a learning for me. Because I know it's a tournament. I just never
Well, I
paid any
think
attention.
it's previously it would have. I don't know what it was on years ago. I imagine like Eurosport or something. But yeah, I tried to watch it this year. I was a bit interested, but the Egypt Nigeria game really put me off. I was like,
Yeah.
it was terrible. Like, but Egypt's I thought were terrible, but they seem to be scraping through. They knocked Ivory Coast out yesterday.
I think
so-
Morocco might knock them out next round. We'll see. I fancy Morocco. I really like him. Just Hakimi is just sick.
Who was the other team? Yeah, Algeria. I remember. you
Oh,
said
well, they
did well.
died.
Yeah, they were like
That's
the
ridiculous.
Turkey of.
It's absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It was like
The-
even if the equivalent would have been Italy coming into the Euros unbeaten for 3 years and then lost every game. That is the equivalent of what
Yeah.
happened.
I just remember Turkey being everyone's dark horses for the Euros. It was like,
Yeah,
We all read them. We all read the same articles. Like,
ridiculous. Ridiculous.
anyone else got any points?
Yeah, my top one is Declan Rice. Turns out is the best midfielder in the Premier League.
Do you know what? You might be fucking right. You might be right.
He's unbelievable.
I don't know what I was for the last couple seasons. I've never quite got the Declan Rice thing. I never thought he was a bad player, but I always thought that he might have been a bit overrated, particularly with I think some of the conversations around him being going to Man United and stuff. And I actually would have held him and kind of like McTominay in the same standing as a young player who in the same position who might do well. Declan Rice is incredible. He's incredible. He's so good. He's one of those players where I think he could play most positions on the pitch. He's so smart, technically astute, and I just hope it's just one of those things where I just hope for England's sake he's someone that does follow through and is excellent for him because he's all of it. He's everything you want in a player.
He was brilliant in the Euros. Wasn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah, absolutely.
And he's carrying
Absolutely.
that on, and he's just getting better. I think he's getting good coaching, and he's getting better.
good coaching and a position. Like you're
Yeah.
saying, he could play anywhere. I think that's the fear. I think that's what the difference with him and McTominay is he's got his position and he's trying to perfect his trade there. where
He's
McTominay-
I don't even know if is quite a defensive mid. He's just a centre mid, isn't he? He's just.
Yeah,
I know he's got the.
He's a 6. I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll place him there, but he also has that ability to turn face forward and pass
Oh, he
those
can do
balls. Isn't he?
loads, but I think Mark's right. He is nailing down
Yeah.
the England team and whatever team he plays. That is he'll be in a holding 2. He'll be one of them. And
Absolutely.
he's just amazing.
He knows when to go and when to not. He knows when to take chances. When he's got to, get in the box. When he's got to stay back. He just seems to have it all going. Yeah, I'm with you, Dan. With you.
Do you want another one?
Please.
Iwobi is still the worst signing of the last 5 years.
That's funny. That's great. Why? How did you just learn that?
Well, I mean, I knew he was, but I wondered if he was still going to be. But you've now got Everton doing terribly. They had no one fit, and they were playing Anthony Gordon, and they were playing some other youth player. And he cannot get in that team because he's. And then when he did, he was absolutely useless. That has to go down, I think, for what was it, 28 million? One of the worst signings in history.
That's a bit heavy-handed, but he was always bad. I mean, that's a bit heavy-handed, but yeah, he was. I mean, I always thought he was shit when he was at Arsenal, to be fair. And it's probably just proven that he's just not good.
30 million nearly. £30 million for him.
Price tags are price tags. I mean, it's weird, isn't it? You can't always attribute the cost.
Maybe. I don't know. Demarai Gray cost them, 8 million? No, that's good business.
Not English.
One for me is I fear Newcastle may become the real deal. Mainly
Did that Chris Wood signing just make you think?
No, they signed that Portuguese guy today, haven't they?
Today, yeah.
The guy that Arsenal wanted.
Guimaraes, yeah.
Yeah.
Guimaraes.
So the Chris Wood one was just strategic because they basically relegate Burnley by doing that. So it's rather than him keeping them up, they secure one of the places to go down. Norwich seem to be on a bit of form, but now they're making signings to make it look like they're not even worried about relegation anymore. It's like, we'll sign Chris Wood. That's relegation sorted, and now we'll try and work our way up. So
there's something about the Newcastle one, and maybe it's because it's another team that's going to be ahead of Arsenal. But I don't know. I just hate it. I don't like this one. I don't like this one.
I want them to go down. I want Everton to go down and Burnley to go down. And I'm like,
Everton.
Yeah, I'd like to see Roy Hodgson keep Watford up. And then you start running out of teams who could go down. And then realistically, you're looking at Leeds or Brentford. And I'm like,
Roy Hodgson is just going to turn Watford into Crystal Palace with Sarr being their Wilfred Zaha. As soon as Sarr comes back, he's just going to build the exact same function.
But once he got Palace out of the bottom 3, he never went back into it. So,
and I don't doubt he's fine. He's a good manager. He'll organise them. He'll do his shit. But it's Watford.
He does normally take a couple of he does. But he's so old. He probably don't mind a short-term job.
He probably don't even know what he's doing. He's so old.
Well, he's 75. I mean, it's pretty old to be taking.
Did he not retire though? Did he not actually retire?
Guess not.
Jesus Christ.
Anyone else? Biden on in 2024.
Yeah, well, exactly. What else have I got down here? Money has finally won football in all the top major leagues.
Money has finally won football?
Yes. So I was looking at the odds for each of the top 5 leagues and the winners.
This was not a random learning. You've just looked this up, haven't you?
No. I've written this down because I was looking at it this week of what's happening. And I think Money has finally won. So it's been winning for a long time. It's fine. So you look at the odds. So Bayern, a 95% chance of winning the league this year. PSG, this is based on the odds of them winning, based on how far ahead they are. PSG at 95%, Real Madrid are at 88%, Man City are at 88%. The only potential, even though Inter is at 70-something%, they're the only potential where there's going to be anything. But money is just, in the same way it's happening in the world, the rich getting richer, the same thing is happening in football and in the top leagues, and the money is just flooding to the top, and it's just getting a bigger gap. And
what's the odd for Union Saint-Gilloise to win?
Well, yeah, when you look at some of those, but that is the irony of that is that's because they've got all the money, because they're owned by the bloke by Tony Bloom, who owns Brighton. So
that's funny. It just made me think I need to move to Belgium, boy, because the exchange rate. You must live like a king if the owner of Burnley is just the richest owner in the Belgium league, isn't it? Right. Of Brighton, rather. Yeah.
But I mean, he's a pretty wealthy guy, and Star Lord Labs, whatever it's that gambling company. He's
No.
pretty wealthy.
Well, he ain't paying Brighton for it, is he? Jesus Christ.
Well, I don't know. He's paying Potter for a 7-year contract. They don't. To be fair, Brighton do buy players. They do spend. They just don't.
Yeah, but you're talking like that he's got enough money to be a super team.
No, he's not. He's not like a sheikh from Abu Dhabi, but
No.
he's got enough money to run a club in Belgium. Like, come on.
Yeah, there you go. Anyone else? All good?
Yeah, I think that was pretty much all of it.
Good. So just going to Claudio Ranieri, another sacking. What's that? The 23rd manager fired this season, something like that. It just made me think, like, with his one in particular, because I didn't, we spoke about managers before Christmas. I think we did a thought about that one. The reason why this one came to mind is because how can a manager like Claudio Ranieri, who won the league in one of the most unlikely situations in sporting history, do what he did with Leicester City, but is unable to keep Watford up or even keep his job in the process? Like, I think before I'd said that, we were talking about Pep Guardiola and him being a manager, and I'd liken it to like a sports, F1 racer. You can't just put a normal driver in an F1 car and it's got to be the right match. But surely a manager like Claudio Ranieri should be able to keep a team like Watford up. Or is it literally that circumstantial? Like, is everything just based on luck? Is it all a fucking myth? Is it all an illusion? What is it? Why is it that Claudio Ranieri can't keep a Watford up?
I think managers' influence over stuff is massively overhyped. Like, people think managers are like me playing FIFA on the PlayStation, where I have a controller and can actually control the players. So quite often, if there's a lot going wrong, the manager just gets the front and they think change the manager and it will get better again. So he's probably walked into a club where maybe half the players are already checked out, thinking they're going elsewhere or what. So I think we do think managers have more influence than they really do. I think that's the first thing. But yeah, you'd think someone like Ranieri, because he won the league, sometimes you'd imagine if you put like a Pep in Watford, the players, even if they've checked out and won it, they'd think, I can use this time to learn something. I could learn off the best. I could learn something new. So even if they just switched back on even for a month, you'd think they'd be able to do that. So it's funny Ranieri don't have that about him, because if anything, they got worse under him. So
no, they had some bad injuries. They haven't had their squad together, and they had a lot of issues with COVID for a number of his games. So he hasn't been given much time. Like, I don't even know how many games he's played. How many games he had? Like 7 or 8, maybe. Like, really, not a lot.
This is Watford's thing, isn't it? They're like, we want to get as many managers in as possible.
When you take the Watford job, it's short term. Like, unless you go and win the league, it's short term. You're going to be out soon. So I think part of the problem with that way of running a club is that the manager has no say on anything, because why would they? Because they're going to be gone soon, and the players know that. And so, as you said, Mike, if you've already got a bunch of players who are half checked out, or things start going wrong, people can't be bothered, or results don't go their way, everyone knows what's going to happen. Whoever it is going to lose his job, and then a new one will come in, and maybe they'll be all right. The worst thing about it is it keeps working. Like, they keep doing it, and it keeps working for them.
I mean, that's true. It's like their process, for whatever it is, keeps working for their want to just stay in the Premier League.
Yeah. Like
So
Chelsea on steroids, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it really is. Watford, my stat was Watford have had 8 managers since Burnley last had a red card.
But they're so physical.
I saw that and I just loved that. I thought it was great. 8 managers.
That is a really good stat. I mean, it's good on Burnley for not getting any red cards, but I mean, how do you know how long that time spans?
Well, how long have they had 8 managers? A couple of seasons ago, they went through 4 in one season. So there's probably over the last.
Wasn't there one when they were in the Championship? I felt like it was 5. They were on a 5th manager.
So that's probably over the last 2.5 seasons.
Yeah.
Like that. It's just ludicrous. Like, I mean, and they've even brought the same ones back and then fired them. I just don't know. I don't know what Roy Hodgson's thinking. Maybe he's just bored and he's like, "Well, I'll just take this for a bit, see how it goes, and then, who cares?"
I think it's just for Roy Hodgson. It's just a job at the end of the day. It's not. He knows he's not going to be there with so much pressure. You know, he's going to probably go through the same drills he does at every club he does and hopes that it kind of works out. Because for him, if they get relegated, it don't mean shit to him, does it?
Yeah, and some of it,
That's why you hire a 79-year-old versus a 35 to 40-year-old who has ambition.
yeah, but they also know the game. So like the thing with Ranieri is, like as you say, there was COVID, etc. But it's winning game. There's certain games you will win. You're not going to get sacked as a Watford manager for losing to City or to Liverpool.
Yeah.
But he lost to Brentford.
If you lose to
he
Norwich,
lost to Norwich.
Lose to Norwich. What happened?
He lost to Norwich. He lost to Brentford. He drew with Newcastle. It was like they're the ones that get you up. Like, and I remember it was like Big Sam used to always say they circle the games they have to win.
Yeah, yeah.
David Moyes had a similar thing at Everton. He was like, we have to win these ones. We'll try to win these ones, and the rest, the other fixtures are bonus. So, I think that's where it's gone wrong, and maybe Hodgson has that nous to know when this is the one we have to win. So,
here you are.
Yeah, maybe.
Good luck to Roy.
Yeah.
I've gone.
I was going to say I think it'll do well.
What's well?
I think they'll be there. It's only because I can see him going. Will he keep him up? Go on, I'll commit. Yeah, he's going to keep him up. Go on, there we go.
Exactly. What's well? It'll do well. It's like, yeah. Do you know what? I think Roy Hodgson will do well because I think everyone in there will like him and say he's a good guy. It's like,
well, no, I think you'll look at Watford as an improved team once he's there. Like you'll be like, oh, okay, Watford are not that bad.
Well, that's an interesting one because I would think they would be an improved team, but I think they'll be harder to watch because it would just be, let's get through this game and try and get the points where we can, isn't it?
Yeah, essentially, I don't keep scoring. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't really associate Hodgson with bad football. Though it's not.
I was just thinking he might be a bit more pragmatic, but it's not good football.
No,
he
doesn't. Pragmatic is the word. It is pragmatic football for sure.
Yeah, I don't see it as I've never watched his team thinking he's sold it as a good style or a bad style. Like I don't.
I know what you mean. I think sometimes you watch because I don't quite understand Norwich, right? But when you watch them, it's a tough watch for a shit team. Not like Man City's a good team, but they're tough to watch because I don't know. They're just difficult. Like
they're boring. That's why.
Yeah, I can't watch Norwich. I find Newcastle difficult to watch. Everton. Burnley might as well just fuck off. Like Burnley's tough to watch.
Well, you say that Everton Villa game, I watched that on the weekend. That was great. That was a great game. And actually, Villa are pretty.
I missed it. Well, I missed that one, but
for me, Everton fans are just the worst when they're at home because they don't have any songs. All their atmosphere is created about fouls, throw-ins, and corners. It's just arguing. Like there's no if you watch Leeds or Newcastle, they'll generate some atmosphere, but with Everton, it's all about the defensive. It's just like that's our throw, that's our free kick, that's our foul.
I just think Everton fans don't care anymore. They're just giving up. I think they're falling out of love with football.
But if you've called a throw the wrong way, that stadium will light up. But to just generate some atmosphere is like, yeah.
Did you see the game on? It was televised, the Villa Everton game, because it was Big Dunk's first game, obviously in charge again. And the atmosphere was ridiculous. Like, it was amazing. Like, everyone was going nuts, and it was super loud. Even the commentators were like, "God, it's loud in here." They were loving it.
No,
they still lost.
Was that an early kickoff?
Yeah, it was
Saturday morning.
Saturday morning kickoff. But I mean, Everton were the better team in the second half. They could have scored a few goals if they had anyone that could put the ball in the net. But Liverpool was funny, smashed them.
I've got one last point, actually. I forgot.
Go on.
One thing I learned, that regardless of what happens with this pod, the Results League might be a game for life because we did very well.
Oh, unbelievable.
We didn't miss a week.
Unbelievable.
So congratulations.
I still don't know how. I feel like we must have done 2 fixtures one weekend because.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty on top of it for a period of time. I think one of you also kind of kept us on top at the beginning of Christmas or in around December. So I thought we'd lost it, but then obviously once we put it in, we were like, oh, bang on, got it. So good for us. Although the downside is, I think because I hadn't paid too much attention to it, I've seemed to have slipped. So that's not great.
I thought you were going to say you picked someone too many times. That was my fear.
No.
Not being
no,
updated,
that's-
I was worried. I was like,
That's actually why I updated the sheet, because I was just like, I don't know who to pick.
Yeah.
I need to know
I was
where I'm at.
picking my zeros, hoping that I didn't pick them twice in that period. So
Yeah. I won't go through all the results and stuff like that because there's no point. Danny from the lot gone.
No, what was I sent a summary, didn't I? What was the general update? I think you got.
I think
4
you're still on
points.
the same amount of points.
No, I got 2. You got over the last like 7 weeks or something. I got 2. Mark got 2, and I think Chris got 4, something like that.
Well, Mark must have got more than me because he's. I think I was winning before we properly had a look at it. And
Yeah,
then
I think
Mark's
I got 4
overtaken me.
points the weekend, the last pod. So for our like keen listeners who remember the last pod, that fixture I got 4 points on, and then
Mark's got 2 points, 3 of the last 4 game weeks, which is pretty big for this game.
Okay, there's been a lot of away wins recently. I noticed
That's all he
that
does. That's all he does.
I noticed that on the weekend that almost all the games are away wins. which
I
is
fucking
good.
made a mistake of, and he goes against me picking Newcastle to beat Leeds. Me mugging should have stuck with my fucking. I'd realised I hadn't picked Leeds to win at all. And there's a fucking reason why, because they are shit. As I always say, they're a terrible team. They're fucking disgusting. You talk about a manager that has no clue and is like the exact antithesis of Alex Ferguson, Man United. We're going to play our way and no other way, and we're going to lose as well. Stupid.
So I'm just looking on these scores. So Mark, you've had 4 points twice, so that's a correct result and away win. Right, so you've done that twice. Chris, you've done it once. I've not had any, but I do have 2 games in hand because
yeah,
because of
we hate games in hand, even in results league.
so although I'm behind at the moment,
Did the
I'm
Spurs
sure you
Burnley
have
one not
picked-
happen?
Spurs Burnley still doesn't happen. No,
Jesus Christ.
That Burnley's going to have like a quadruple game week.
yeah, it'd be nuts. Yeah, let's talk about something I'm good at. Let's talk about FPL. Even though I missed bloody.
Well, no, hold on. Let's,
Christmas is just impossible to follow. It's ridiculous.
well, look, we pick, as always, our timing's excellent with pods because we picked to restart it back when there's a huge international break and we got no Premier League games for weeks. So what are we going to talk about now that we started? But we should still go ahead and plough on with our next fixtures for game week 24. Yeah?
I have not even looked.
I've not looked either, so that's fine.
Well, I know what I'm going to do, so I'll
Look at
fill my time.
Yeah, please go ahead.
I'm going for, you know what they say, don't back the Tuesday game, but I'm going for Everton away to Newcastle.
Did they say don't back the Tuesday game?
No one's ever said
Well,
that.
no one said it now, but yeah, let's start it. I'm doing Everton to win away to Newcastle. So now Benitez is gone. I can finally pick Everton.
Can you
to
type
win.
that in, Mark? Because I'm still looking at the fixtures that I need to get on there.
All right.
Yeah, I am too. Right. That's amazing. I've picked every team to win now. That's good.
I'm trying to find a decent away fixture here, man.
So I will do Everton 2, Newcastle 1.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Can I do the Burnley Watford fixture? Is that part of game week?
No,
20?
that was game week 23.
Ah, you bastards.
Because that's my fixture, isn't it?
That is yours, but I'm just wondering if I can also piggyback off of that.
Yeah, but not for this week. That's ridiculous.
Why?
Because it's a different week. You can't do that. That's like, all right, I'll just pick one from last week. I
I mean, if you want to do that, that's fine. It's not my game. You can do whatever you like.
Right. I'm just looking at who I've got to pick to lose.
Yeah,
I've
that's the
got
one. you need
Leicester,
to-
City, and United to pick, and Chelsea. Ugh.
I've got one.
Go on.
I've got one. This is an easy one here. I'm going to pick Crystal Palace away to Norwich. And I'm going to go for a score of... Norwich been scoring, man. Ah,
Yeah, high flying Norwich.
Yeah.
Two wins in a row. So-
I'm going to go for 2-0
to
to Palace.
away.
Okay.
Back in the
So-
game, baby. Come on.
Are Chelsea not? Chelsea aren't playing. I'm like looking for Chelsea. Like, where are they? Because I need to pick them to lose. Who else have I got to pick to lose? I've got to pick Leicester or Villa. I think this could be a good week to pick. Well, Villa aren't playing either, so this could be a good week to pick Leicester to lose.
Villa are playing. They're playing Leeds.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's all right. I'm going to go with
we
Liverpool.
can pick Liverpool twice. I forgot that.
Yeah. I'm going to pick Liverpool to beat Leicester, and I'm going to go for a 3-1 Liverpool.
Do you know what? I'm glad you've done that because it's locked in, right? You can't change it.
Liverpool 3.
Yeah.
Leicester
Yeah.
1.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what a waste of a pick. You could pick Liverpool twice. You only do away fixtures for the Monsters, surely. Only.
No, but I've got to pick some of the bigger teams to lose, and I'd rather pick ones that I'm pretty sure they will. Because now I've still got to pick
Have you not
United,
learned since
City,
the
and
last
Chelsea
pod
to
that
do.
Leicester are no longer one of the bigger teams? Leicester, where are Leicester? The bottom half.
They are currently in 10th, so they're bang in the middle.
Yeah, but I'm not going to pick Man United to lose at Burnley, and I'm not going to pick City to lose at Brentford. So
Well, how does this work? They got 3 or 4 games at hand because Chelsea's got 24 fixtures and the rest are 23, 22, 21. They played 20 games. How about that?
Who, Leicester?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they've not been. I know they've not been great, and that's why I think they'll lose to Liverpool. That's my rationale.
Burnley are 6 games behind Chelsea.
Yeah, we've had this discussion.
I've just learned, but it's 6 though. Come on, 6. How can you run anything? 6 games. Madness.
Anyway, apparently there's another double game week coming up.
Imagine 6 games. They might not get relegated. I might start.
Who was it I was looking at? Chelsea have 3 blank game weeks out of 4.
Yeah, because they've got the Super Cup or whatever it is. Because they won the Champions League.
Fantasy football, Dan. You want to talk about fantasy football? Is that right?
Should we just talk about how much I'm beating you both by?
Well, but I mean, we're coming after you. That's
not
the
as
thing,
much
though,
as you. Not as much as you think. You always say you're 100 points clear. But it's more like
Yeah,
70.
and I always win.
Which
Well, Dan, how many points did you get last game week?
That's a good question. I have no idea. I haven't even looked.
he's currently on 21. So
No, I'm on 25.
-4.
minus 4.
Oh, what a terrible choice. I bought in Foster for -4. What a shocker.
Congrats. Well done.
Right.
What
Well,
about the
I've
week
got-
before, Dan?
No, this is still last week because don't forget it's a double game week. So
Well, remember the week before as well. I absolutely demolished both of you.
I've also got Ivan Toney to come in because Reguilon didn't play, and so that's 7 more.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
You might get more than me this week then.
But
That's
not more
good.
than me, and I'm coming for you.
Well, Chris, you're getting beat by the All-Talk, aren't you? Oh, just ahead.
Well, that's what you get for captaining Dennis. That's me, innit? I brought Dennis in, captain in. Classic Chris luck here.
I captained him too. Everyone bloody captained him. What a joke.
Mark, do you know what I might do? If you give me enough money, I'm just going to pick all the players that Danny has so they get nothing and then you win. Because that's the way this goes for me this season. I'm just the ultimate destroyer of all that's anything good in terms of points. I can't do anything.
So I am, my overall rank of 1 million is probably the worst I think I've ever been in. And I'm looking at my entire history of fantasy football. I don't think I've ever been that high. So this is the worst season I've ever had in my life of
But
fantasy.
it's a bad season though. Like
It's a terrible season. It's a bad season for it.
Yeah, but there's still 1 million people doing better than me.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, some people got to do better than you in something, right?
True. Got to give everyone a chance.
You know what I'm saying? Us lot out here, you're 1 million. I wonder where I'm at. I must be so bad.
You're last.
Well, my overall rank is 3,800,075 plus.
That's bad.
So
there's just a lot more players as well now. Like everyone starts the season on fantasy,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, but there's like what 7 million, but there's probably only about half.
there's almost 9
million.
million total players.
Yeah, but only half of them will be real players. Half of them will be switched off.
Yeah.
They're probably doing better.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You're like, why am I making all these changes? You know, when there used to be a version of I think it's the Guardian one all the times. They have an online one, and they continue to do points of your first team of the season. They'll just continue to show, and you're like, I'm doing so much better with just my original team. I should have just left it. It's such a head fuck.
Still gotta love it though. Results League and fantasy football will never stop.
Yeah. Well, I just can't wait for Champions League draft to come back. That's me.
Yeah.
Love that game. Everyone loves points. Are you happy with that fantasy football talk, Dan?
Sure, yeah. As long as we just remind everyone how much better I am, then I'm good.
There you go. I ain't really got anything else except front three, back four.
Yep.
Yeah? Go
Yep.
for it. In my, I usually go first, don't I? It's been so long. In my front three this week is the NFL.
Oh, thank God I have 3 front threes because that was one of mine.
Good for you. NFL, just is fucking amazing, isn't it? This season has been
so
outstanding.
good.
And we've just been through, and I listen to a lot of American pods, sports pods and that, and it's just, everyone's just raving. This might be the best weekend in NFL playoffs history. Every game went down to the wire. Some of the games weren't high scoring, but always the fourth quarter. I think there were two kicks out of the 4 games. 2 games, there was a game-winning field goal in the last 2 to 3 seconds to finish it off with the Chiefs versus the Bills, who just absolutely put on a show, particularly in the fourth quarter.
Is there any sport where the last minute of the game is so important and so much happens? Is there any other sport?
Basketball.
Well, the last minute does last about 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I mean, the last minute. But it's like
There was 17. There was 17 points in 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's a weird one trying to quantify the time aspect of NFL.
Yeah.
It's been great. I must admit, seeing the highlights of the Chiefs game reminded me. I hate overtime in NFL.
Oh, the rule is so dumb.
Has a coin toss mattered more?
So
It's
dumb,
like-
yeah. Like what? It's like, it reminds me of Golden Goal.
Golden goal, yeah. I never
We tried
liked
Golden Goal and it just
Yeah.
didn't work. What?
And the way that Allen was playing, you're like, he can come back and score
Yeah,
again, which
absolutely.
is brutal. And put that aside because I think everyone just fucking overplays it. Yeah, it's a bad rule. It's been bad for years. What are you gonna fucking do? But yeah, they aren't. The problem is with other sports outside of the NFL is because obviously the sports we have here is once the ball goes out of bounds or something like that. There's no defined clock time, so you don't get that level of excitement the same that you do with basketball, even NFL or basketball with a last minute shot and that kind of stuff. Just fucking great.
You get last minute thing like it happened last week. Marcus
Man.
Rashford, right? Last kick of the game, Rashford scored that
Yeah,
goal.
but there's a difference between like a play that finishes the game and some time afterwards, an absolute buzzer beater where you imagine it's like a penalty. If you're on a penalty shootout and it's the last penalty, as soon as you score that one, you can run, celebrate. It's definitive where it's you can score that last minute goal and then there's some time in between and then you cheer.
Well,
Probably
that
doesn't make that much of a difference.
He blew the whistle. He scored the goal, went to and they didn't even kick off. Like
Yeah,
the ball went to the middle and he blew the whistle.
but
yeah.
no, NFL,
NFL,
fantastic. It's been a great season. The playoffs that's why playoffs are so good in American sports.
Who's winning it? Who's winning it?
I said before this weekend, and I'll reiterate it just so you know. You can verify this, Dan. I'm not lying. I said whoever's going to win out of the Chiefs and the Bills is going to win the NFL. So therefore, I have to say the Chiefs.
I probably agree. I don't see how you can stop Mahomes. It's ridiculous.
No, not at all. And some of the bigger teams went out, like the Titans. They were one of the better teams this season. They went out. Green Bay went out, one of the better teams. And guys got players about. LA Rams could do it.
They the only ones that could get close, but I still don't see how they'd stop him. But
Well, the idea is how can you outscore the Chiefs?
no,
Then that's it.
you have to
that's
stop
what it boils
them.
down
You
to.
can't outscore them. You have to stop them.
You can't stop them.
They're ridiculous. Yeah.
So very good.
Anyway, for another day, but playoffs, I could imagine playoffs working in the Premier League.
Well, that's basically what any cup game is, right? Knockout stages.
No, but what I mean is because I think if all these top leagues become so dominant for so many years, which they might do now with the Bayerns and the Real Madrid, whatever, they may eventually look at like championship style playoff at the end of the year, or MLS style. It actually works really well. You get the top 6 or whatever, and then there's round robin.
Rugby do it, don't they?
They do it. Almost lots of sports do it, except for
Pretty
football.
well. And you get like in all of those leagues that do it, the MLS, wherever, like you get like over the last 10 years, 8 different winners. And because there's a chance, but otherwise you just get the same winners over and over.
I think the issue in football is you don't really get neutrals. So the idea of having a final celebration in the Premier League would essentially come down to 2 sets of fans, where in other sports, I think there's a bit more neutral support to it. So yeah, I could imagine, I don't know.
That's like
a Chelsea Tottenham playoff final. Champions League is a little bit different, I'd say, mainly because you could end up with 2 teams that aren't in your league, so you're not associated to. So yeah, Champions League works, but yeah, if the Premier League had a top playoff and it ended up like a Chelsea Tottenham final, everyone outside of Chelsea and Tottenham wouldn't really care.
Oh, I don't know. I think you'd still watch it, wouldn't you?
Oh, watch it, yeah.
It depends. It depends. I think it would take some getting used to, but the whole kind of idea about that teams have how they build a football team would have to change.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
Yeah, would I enjoy the spectacle? No. Like FA Cup final day, they've tried the last few years on BBC to make it a big thing where they put the show on at lunchtime and kickoffs at 4.
I just don't think English people would respond to it. Americans and English people are just different, and it's like you want something a bit more downplayed. I don't really want to spend 2.5 hours watching a football match.
Well, no, it's not what I'm suggesting. It's more the concept of a playoff to enable more equality across the teams. When you start having top 7 or 8 clubs, I could see it happening. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe. It'll just be the same fucking teams. Like we just Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Man United.
But it wouldn't. Like, look what's happened to the Championship. It's made the Championship an amazing league.
Maybe.
That's how you take the top teams out of it each year.
Yeah, there is that. Yeah, true.
And my back four this week is Snow White. She's lonely. Snow White. Disney are going to be rethinking the words dwarves in their newest live action depiction of Snow White and the 7 people. The seven people, I'm guessing. Peter Dinklage, well-known an established dwarf, if I can say that, of notable fame from Game of Thrones and Elf and anything else he's been tiny in. He was on a podcast and he was talking about how moaning about how Disney aren't being progressive in the fact that they're still using the word dwarves. And I don't know. I mean, this is just one of them things where just like one person says something again and it's like they got to rethink everything. It's a fucking story. I mean, they're fucking dwarves. You're dwarf, they're dwarves. Let's call a spade, huh?
Don't know what to tell you.
I mean, what are you going to do? They're just going to have like a cast of 7, like United Colours of Benetton, 6'4". Fucking one's Chinese, one's African, one's English, one's just because it's supposed. What do they get? What's I don't know what they're aiming for, isn't it? It's like
I have real mixed feelings about this whole thing because they're just doing live actions to cash in on the new generation who, like we can't spurt out our old films because they're no longer with the times. So then what Peter Dinklage was saying was at Disney they were high-fiving and patting each other on the back for getting the first like Latino Snow White while about to portray the dwarves as cave living.
What if they were black dwarves?
It's but the thing is I really don't care. This is what you get, isn't it? It's like you want to remake something and you want to do it in a certain way. This is what comes with that territory, isn't it? Now you got to find a new way of doing it. The original story of Snow White is a pretty raw story anyway, the Brothers Grimm version anyway. So if they want, they could go back and do that original one where Snow White gets doesn't go too well for her, and so they could just stay true to the original, but
then it'd just be a horror film. Not a kid film.
That's me.
Nice. Mark, got any?
All right. In my front three is let me get it up.
That's what she said.
Carl Hipperchen, if you know who this guy is. So
no,
he won
please.
a raffle ticket. He got a raffle ticket, won a raffle to be part of SpaceX's trip, and I found out on just before that he was too fat to go to space. So a once in a lifetime trip. He got told he's too fat. He's 5'10", so he's my height, a bit taller than you guys, and weighs 330 pounds. And
ooh, that's
330 what?
Pounds, and then had to try and
what else would it be? Kilos?
Yeah. Had to try and cut weight to the 250-pound limit, which just was too much. So his roommate ended up going instead. So what a win for the
Well,
roommate, and hopefully this is a life-changing moment for Carl. And
Well, personally, I think that SpaceX are just not being inclusive of big-boned people, and I find it very offensive as a fat fuck as well.
Yeah, they need to rebuild their rockets, clearly.
Bigger
Yeah.
Because
doors.
if they want to get all the people off the earth, they need to realize what America's like.
I think we need a bigger boat. So, yeah.
Exactly.
I wonder if it's like, because clearly, I wonder how they came up with this conclusion, because clearly weight's not an issue. You're going to be zero gravity. So is it like they're concerned that all the freeze-dried food will be gone in the first half an hour?
No, it'll be the size of the suit. Surely it'll be that.
I think maybe there's confusion because in the film Wall-E, all the people are just fat, like fucks who've got crap bone. But that happened once they were in space. I think this guy did it the wrong way round. I think he thought he had to be like that to go up. So yeah, unlucky for him.
Oh man, that's good though. Good story.
Funny. Good story. good
Yeah,
stuff.
my back four this week is, I don't know if any of you read about the young Irish guy who took his uncle to the post office to collect his pension, and then turns out it was a corpse. His uncle was actually dead. He tried
This
to
weekend at Bernie's. What's going on?
so he's tried to cash out his pension, and then the staff were
He
like,
brought the dead body with him.
yeah. So since then the police have come out and said, oh, it looks like his uncle could have died just before he got there. So actually, he may have left with his uncle alive. So they're saying they don't suspect foul play.
That's worse.
But then the cashier was like, something's up here. there's
Yeah, just a little bit.
yeah.
The person behind there was like, he talks to me all the time, and he was just so quiet. I thought it offended him.
So in an interview with the news, he said, well, of course I didn't know he was dead. I'm not in Egypt, was the quote from the guy. But yeah, so half the internet think he's tried one on here. He's tried to get the last check out of his uncle's pension, but the police say it's too close to call, so they won't investigate it any further. So
Said the case is dead.
yeah, it's a cold case. So.
Yeah, that's what I was going to go with. Took my line.
People are mad.
I took your back four. What?
No, you took my line. I was going to say it was a cold case. You beat me to it. Right, in my there were so many things potentially in my back four, from Boris to Conservatives to inflation to Russia to the Fed. But I just decided I was going to do.
He's just listed all my front
Hey.
three, but there you go.
Well, I was just going to do front three.
Hey, we don't badmouth
Because-
Boris on here. He's, I remember you saying he couldn't organise a piss up in a brewery, but proved
Turns
you
out.
wrong, isn't he? Yeah.
Fair play. But a good news story. My front three this week is Dave Riding. Do you know why Dave Riding is made British history yesterday?
If you say he's a jockey or something like that.
No, of course not.
Oh,
He won the Great Britain's first ever downhill slalom ski gold for the World Cup. Did you know the Winter Olympics starts next week? I
You know what? I heard about that. I heard about it, and because they started competitions already, and I knew it was starting. I didn't care.
Yeah,
all I know
but-
it's in Beijing, because that's usually all they'll ask in a pub quiz is where's it held.
Yeah,
So I'm
where
like,
is
Beijing? That's all I need to know.
So it starts next Friday. But Dave Riding yesterday, the first man ever, British man, to win a gold in the downhill ski World Cup downhill ski in the qualities for the Olympics. So massive
Why
congratulations!
is this in your back four?
No, it's my front three. I was saying
Oh.
congratulations to him.
Oh,
I'm sure you started with your back four.
I
Yeah.
said there were so many things that we could talk about in the back four that I didn't want to talk about any of them. I'm just going to talk about front threes instead. So congratulations to Dave Riding. And the other thing that happened this week
that's like the worst front three ever. Who cares?
broke British history. We're coming for you, Norway. I like the Olympics. I actually, you know.
No, I like the Olympics, the Winter Olympics, and go somewhere else.
No, but have you ever watched the Winter Olympics? It's really
So,
a
do
big
you know what?
No.
There'll be certain things I could watch, but I watched that cross country ski one.
Oh, don't watch that. Oh, come
That
on.
was.
It's like
I
watching.
was like,
that's like watching the power
the
walking
only
in
thing
the
I could do
Olympics.
was like appreciate this looks hard, because it looked hard. Like they were struggling, and that's.
Well, I do like bobsleighing and the single one, the skeleton. That looked pretty
Yeah.
intense.
I really like the Winter Olympics because we don't get exposed to it a lot. You see stuff and you're like, some of these are nuts, like the skeleton. It's like, this is just absolutely crazy. They just go down hundreds of miles an hour, like nuts. But I really like the Winter Olympics, so I was very excited that that's come back next week. Another one was NFL playoff. Another big thing that happened this week was it was the 2-year anniversary of Kobe Bryant's crash, if you remember. And did you see the statue that they've made of him and his daughter? So you know how, like, there's been some dodgy...
Tell me it was Ronaldo's maker.
Right, so there's been some dodgy statues, right? There was the Michael Jackson one at Fulham, there was Ronaldo's one. This isn't exactly like him, but to be fair, there's something quite heartwarming. There's him and his daughter. And it's quite a heartwarming, like, statue, actually. I quite like it. Of all the bad statues that have been made, I think they've done all right. If you Google it, you'll see.
Where is it?
Weirdly, they've put it on the site where the crash happened, which is, I don't know why they did that.
A bit morbid.
Really, really morbid. But yeah, poured out, obviously. Just thought 2 years. I can't believe it's been 2 years since that happened. I don't know.
When I saw that the other day, I was like, my goodness, where's the time gone?
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy.
It's weird to think this time 2 years ago was pre-COVID, really. It's like, so yeah, so when you say 2 years, I feel like, oh, it feels longer because it was before pandemic and
before the world changed.
Life was so much better back then, wasn't it?
It really was. It really was. And then my only other fun story for this week, which I thought was awesome, is AI.
What is this? Fun story week? What's he on about?
Well, we would start 7 weeks worth of stuff.
front free isn't fun free. Like, what's that?
Well,
go on. You started now.
Just fun free back for it's things I think about.
Yeah, it's just basically interesting stuff I've come across.
Well, get to the interesting stuff then, please.
Well, you're not going to like this either then, if you don't think any of the other ones are interesting. But we finally had our first ever robot that has done its own operation, start to finish, without any human intervention. We finally have robots that can operate on people and work without any human intervention, which is something they've been trying to do for years, and they've finally done it. So the robot's finally taking over.
So they've done it on a person, not another robot?
No, not on a robot. I think it was on animals. It wasn't on people.
Okay.
It's obviously risky. But I think they operated on 4 animals, and all 4 was completely successful. So soon enough, we will not need doctors.
If a robot operates on another robot, is it a doctor? And if it operates on a person, it's a mechanic.
That is.
But we can agree this one's a vet because you said it was animals.
Yeah,
that's consistent.
I don't know what to tell you.
And if he's in a boat, then he's a sailor.
Yeah.
He's got wheels. He's a bicycle.
You're obviously enjoying my stories, but I'll stop there because you can give a crap. So
no, please tell me about what's it, David Ryder again? I want to hear more.
That's my news. I thought that was a really nice story, David Ryder. First ever gold in skiing. That's awesome.
I mean, I'll just take your word for it then. I guess you had to be there, right?
I think it'll be one that will marinate because if we get into the Olympics, we'll be like, oh, great story. Like,
yeah, exactly. Well, he will.
If I try and watch it and it's terrible,
he will be in the Olympics and it's gonna be great.
It's probably one of those stories that got a bit of a snowball effect, isn't it?
Very good. Very good. Any more puns before we go?
No, I've run out. Right. Great to be back. Right.
Yeah.
Usually the first one's pretty shit, and I enjoyed that one.
Good.
We will see you in 3 weeks' time.
Yeah. After the break, it's our winter break now.
Yeah, we got no football, international break, FA Cup. Who cares? Carabao Cup. We need to get some proper football. Do you know? I've been keeping an eye. We're really creeping up close to our 100th episode. And since then, I feel like we've done like 4 episodes in as many months. Honestly, it's not good. But we're creeping up. We are. What are we on? We're on like 18. We're on line 93, maybe.
Oh, what are we doing we're doing a live studio audience for our...
So this one is our 90th episode. We've got 9 more. Well, that's what I was thinking. I was like, we should do something. We should maybe do a one in person again, or do something. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, no thanks.
Oh,
I'm kidding. Well, obviously we're allowed to now.
We're allowed to now.
We'll try and get somewhere and get a little panel going, and
yeah,
it'll be like COVID. We'll get the cardboard fans out.
Let's get a crowd. Let's get people over. Let's have a few drinks and just talk about it.
What is it they did in the Peter Crouch podcast? They went to the Indian. They all had an Indian and beers and did it while having an Indian. So why don't we go for dinner with some friends and do it then?
Do it on location. Could do that. Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Happy to love you and leave you. We will see you next time. See you later. Bye. Bye, Mark.